Welcome back. I've let y'all wait long enough for this hair video. Watch to the end to learn how to get this perfect red color. For those of you who've been watching, you know my favorite hair company is Celie Hair. I'm starting out with 4 bundles of the 26-inch and the closure was 20 inches, I believe. As you see, the hair is so soft and the ends are so thick. I start out by using this mixing bowl and mixing brush I got from the beauty supply. I used a BW2 mixing bleach and 40 developer. I keep adding powder or developer until I get this nice pasty consistency. I didn't want it to be too runny so that it doesn't leak through the closure and it sticks to the knots. After applying and patting in this bleach mixture, I did create 3 different color strip tests. I bleached them for different times just so I can see how much I wanted it to lift before applying the color, and this is just so I know what color I'm going for. After you rinse out the bleach mixture, you want to go ahead and use shimmer lights, which just helps with toning it down and taking out that rusty color. So here you see the knots nicely bleached. If I'm not in a rush, I do let my closure air dry or I'll blow dry it. And here I'm just using the wig spandex dome cap, and I line the closure on the edge, letting a little bit of the hairline go over, and I just pin the edges nice and firm. Next, I use the same T-pins to try to pin down the remaining 2 corners, and I do this by trying to lay the remaining 3 sides flat, and I try to line it up so that all 3 are flat, which is not always perfect, but I do try to focus on letting the sides be flat first. Next, you want to take your threading needle, and I prefer the curved one, and just put the string through the hole, making sure both sides of the string are equal and tying the knot at the very end. On the very front edge of the closure, I do try to go through the cap, and you don't want to go through the spandex second layer part, but stay very superficial, like on the surface, and then go through the closure, pull it all the way through to the end of the knot, hold it, and then we're gonna make another second go round, pull it through, and here I take the needle under and go through the loop so I can pull it tight and make a knot right at the root. So as I try to go down the line of the closure, I do let the first three inserts of the needle end with a knot just to secure the edge of the closure. From there, I just continue to go down, looping it through and pulling it tight, but I do not create the knot for the remaining until I get to the very end of the corner. So as you see, I make a knot at the very corners just to secure the closure a lot better. And as I go down, I am sure to create about a 1 finger space in between, especially for the closure part. I try not to make the spaces between each knot or insertion be too far. Again, at the very edge, I just do multiple knots just to secure the edges of the closure. Once I'm done, I carefully cut right at the edge of the knot, being careful not to cut on or behind it, and then I go around and cut any hanging strings that might have been left. To get the cap ready to add the tracks, I do scoot it up to just let the bottom portion lay a little more flat and have a wider range as I add the tracks. So I do like for my wigs to be a little on the fuller side, so I did end up using about 3.5 bundles for this whole wig. I start out with the first track, folding it in half equally and letting the open end be the part that I put the needle through for stability. So to know where to start the track, I estimate about where I feel my ears are. And I remember when I started out, I did take the cap off the mannequin head and put it on my actual head if I needed help with deciding. So if that helps, you can try that. But I put it right back on the mannequin head and I start the track. It's the same way as we started the closure, putting it through the track and under through the spandex. And remember, we're keeping it superficial. You don't want to go through the hard elastic part. So in the same way we did the closure, you are just going to go under the double stack tracks and through the superficial part of the cap, being sure to go through the loop so you can pull it through and make that stitch. Once I completed one line with allowing one finger be between each insertion of the needle, I do fold it over and try to sew this part flat onto the cap. I do not cut the tracks, y'all. I feel like that's what leads to more shedding. So I just fold it over and create like double knots just to lay it very flat on the edge. As you see, I did skip over the threading of the actual wig cap. You don't want to go through this part because it can mess with the elasticity of the wig. Now personally, to see how much of a gap I want to leave between each layer of tracks I sew down, I use my finger like you see, and I use about 1.5 sections to measure the gap. And then I'll pin down the layer of the track. Now I do see some other people use the method where they'll like draw on the spandex. Now you can do that just to create like even layers between each. But as I go, I do just do an estimation. Now, as you get closer to the closure, the gaps between do get smaller. And so as you see here, I'm going to show you how I sew the last tracks right up under the closure. So again, I go right under the double stacked tracks and I go under the closure through the spandex and I'll pull it through and make a knot. So now we're just going to prepare the hair to get bleached, and I did compare those strips that we bleached earlier to see how much of a lift I wanted to do. I found that the color that I was going for as far as the red was going to be more rich and deep on like a brown instead of lifting it too high, closer to a blonde. So you do want to just lift it slightly up to a brown, and you're going to see that soon. Now we are going to use the same BW2 Bleach and 40 Developer that we used on our closure. The mixture is not as thick and pasty. It's actually a little more on the runny side, but you don't want it to be too runny, just so it can stretch a little better. And y'all, just mixed it in this tub, and I'm using a mixing brush, but this is too stressful on my wrist. You're going to see I just slap it on with my hands, and that will make it go much faster. But if you watch the technique, I do just try to get every strand front and back, and I brush it through just so that every strand gets a nice covering of bleach. Now, based on that test strip test, I did notice the lift I wanted would be between the 35 to like 45-minute test, and so I estimated that this is how long I would need it to process, so I just covered it and I just kept checking the wig until I get this kind of light brown color. After washing out the bleach, I did follow it with the Shimmer Light shampoo again, just to take out any kind of rust color. So this is the brown that you are going for. This is after everything is washed out. Now I'm just gonna add the color. So in a tub, I just added the Burgundy Envy and some conditioner, and I mixed that thing up and started to apply it. So I did not know who I thought I was over here trying to paint all of this on. Y'all, honestly, I feel like it's the same effect if you put this on with your hands. As long as you brush it through and make sure every strand is saturated, you should be fine. So you're just trying to make sure to get under, above, through, just getting the color on every strand just so it's super saturated. And y'all, this is the part where I knew I messed up. Please cover your mannequins, it will dye. I made that mistake. You're gonna see the red splotches later. But I'm just being careful to get as close to the root as possible without staining the lace. Now there is a method I saw where you can spray the lace down with glue, so you can try to look that up in another video because I did not do that here. But I'm just separating and parting each part of this closure, just being careful to apply the color and saturating it from root to tip. So I just threw that wig in a bag, let it process and saturate for at least an hour. That should suffice. Out of laziness, I think I did it for like half a day. But I just washed it out, used conditioner, blew out the hair into this beautiful, deep, rich red. Y'all, I am in love. So using the chasing method, I did just go ahead and use my Infinity Conair flat iron and sectioned off parts to flat iron the whole wig. So funny enough, I recorded this whole hair video about a year ago from the time it's going to be posted. So the way I pluck and lay my edges has changed, but you are welcome to watch how I did it at this time. So this is the final look, y'all. I am so obsessed, y'all, and hopefully you guys get the same deep rich red color. Let me know in the comments below how it went for you, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.